Processes beat goals every single time. The more you want something, the more elusive that it's going to become.
Do you say that hustle culture and that mentality is a giant pendulum in itself? And in the topic of pendulums, similar to Mike's question, have you found pendulums that are useful that maybe you attract to or you give your energy to that has helped serve you in your life?
Yeah, both really good questions. And I would say yes. I would say the hustle culture is a pendulum. I would say that pretty much any group of two or more people is going to create its own pendulum. And I would say that even any object, has its own energy. Even like take this can right here. I say can. We know what I'm talking about. It's this thing. And so, many people understand that as an idea. It's an abstract concept. And so the more people that focus their attention on it, like a can's pretty harmless as a pendulum. Well, I guess there's a lot of debate on that, like environmentally and stuff like that. So, but you know what I'm saying? It's relatively benign as far as like things go. It's pretty static, but like any group of people. So if it's a bunch of influencers that are part of hustle culture, then they're pushing their whole idea and their agenda out there and putting it out for people to hop into. Once they start to like embrace those ideas and then they start to embody those ideas, and then it changes their identity. They start to conform to that. When it comes to hustle culture, I feel like it's a little bit out of balance already because it's glorifying outcomes. And I think what can be healthier is to focus more on processes, because processes beat goals every single time. And there's nothing wrong with having a goal. Goals are great. The whole point of the reality transforming book is to find your true goals, whatever your North Star is. But by finding the goal, it makes your life a celebration. It's not by achieving the goal. It's not because you got the outcome. It's why it's like, oh, well, it's not the destination. It's the journey. If you didn't know where you were going, the journey would suck. It wouldn't be any fun. But if you're like, hey, this is awesome. I know where I'm headed. The destination is going to be great. And wow, look at this beautiful trail that we're on right now on the way to the thing. So at that point, it's like we created a process. We know if we follow this trail, we're going to get to the thing. And then we can actually enjoy that, stop and smell the roses. And that process takes care of itself. So if I want to get into better health, well, I can say, all right, I'm going to go to the gym 4 days a week. I'm going to get 10,000 steps. I'm going to eat X, Y, and Z diet and take these steps. And I don't have to worry about hitting my goal weight of 175 pounds. Like eventually it's going to hit itself if I just continue the process moving forward. So I think to me, a great shift from the hustle culture, outcome-based mentality, because what's going to happen is with outcome-based action, there's too much attachment in the Buddhist way of saying it. The way that he says it in Transurfing is when you have too much importance placed on a certain thing, it makes it impossible to get. I want never gets. The more you want something, the more elusive that it's going to become. And the reason why is because we put it out on a pedestal. We put it up here and we're like, even though like in reality, right, like everything's unconditional love, everything's equal, everything is equally gettable, really. But we put something up here and idealize it and we're like, oh, I want the thing. Oh, it's going to be so great when I get the thing. And the more that we do that, the more we're actually like pushing ourselves away from it. There's this emotional component that starts to happen and we block ourselves from actually getting the outcome that we wanted to. Whereas if we're like, yeah, I want the thing. Here's the process. I'm going to focus on the process and work the process. And then the thing starts to come along by itself. And there's a little bit of I think sometimes we get locked in the fantasy of certain things. We're like, oh, when I get this thing, it's going to be so great. But we don't see the other things that come along with it. Like, for instance, like you're like, I want $1 million. Well, yeah, everyone wants $1 million. There's going to be some things that you're going to have to learn skill-wise in order to keep the $1 million. You're going to have to learn about some tax stuff. You're going to, there are other things that come along with that thing that seems so good that if you put that into the mix of what it is that you want, your goal, then it doesn't seem like so much of a fantasy anymore. It's like, oh, okay, well, this is a very like real thing. $1 million, I'm going to have to set up, the trust and hire a lawyer and blah, 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 taxes, whatever. Right. So then it's not this like a holy thing that you've made a huge deal out of. It's like actually attainable and real, and it has its own problems, right? Like say more money, more problems, right? So if you can acknowledge that whatever it is that you're going for, there's going to be, benefits, disadvantages. There's going to be things that you're going to need to learn. There's going to be things that you need to accommodate and account for. Then it's a lot easier to attain the goal because you can kind of see it on a level playing field as opposed to like putting it up here and putting a ton of importance on it. But that was a long way to say, I think processes would be a healthier way than hustle culture, because what's going to happen with hustle culture, they're going to try to control the outcome, try to force things to happen. And whenever we do that, it gets ugly. If you've ever tried to like overtly like force or control something into your will, like you're a puppeteer or something, it's like, man, the amount of backlash that comes from that is just, it's not desirable whatsoever. And even if you were to get the thing, you're so energetically exhausted by the end of it. Like, was it really worth it? As opposed to taking a smoother approach. It doesn't mean that you don't take action. It doesn't mean that you don't put one foot in front of the other and do the things that it's going to take to accomplish your goal, of course. But I think that it can come about much more natural way, a more effortless way, not completely effortless, but much, much less effort required. It's the idea of transurfing is that we can get to our goal with the way that nature does, which is with the least amount of effort or resistance. That doesn't mean none, but like water flows downhill every time, right? It's going to go the path of least resistance every single time. And so the same is true with like martial arts. You see it with Aikido or, many other martial arts systems where people will take, the movements of the other person and basically use it to their advantage. And they're barely even moving, it looks like, right? And so the other person's like kind of like putting all this energy and effort in, and it's just kind of like gliding, and they're just getting owned. So I think there's a more efficient way than hustle culture. And depending on how we basically build our relationship with the pendulums or the energetic structures that we associate with, we can have more favorable or less favorable results based on those relationships.